Hi everyone, so this is going to be my review for the Black Panther. It was directed by Ryan Coogler, who actually doesn't really have a lot of filmography. He did do Creed though. So Black Panther, it's a movie that I've been highly anticipating for months, ever since we got the preview. And I'm a huge fan of the MCU, so anything that involves the MCU, I'm really like all the different characters and all the different heroes and their backstories. So I was really looking forward to this one, and I really wasn't disappointed. So a little summary. It's not going to be little because it's kind of a complicated summary, but anyway, there's going to be spoilers. Basically, this takes place a week after Captain America Civil War. He's going back to Wakanda to be crowned king of Wakanda. But apparently there's a ceremony that any tribe leader who has royal blood can challenge him to become king. Only one who is from like the outcast tribe challenges him, but he defeats him, but he doesn't kill him at the same time. So he's the king, and his first duty as king is actually to apprehend Claw, who was introduced in Age of Ultron. He was the one who had all of the vibranium, and Ultron kind of went over there and teared his arm off and stole the vibranium to make his own body, which is now Vision. So there's that. So anyway, he has now gotten more vibranium. He's going to sell it to the highest bidder in South Korea, and so Black Panther and his guards go over there to try to stop that buying from happening, but they find out that the buyer is the CIA agent Ross, that was actually in Civil War. That's Martin Freeman. And so it actually becomes a bigger, more complicated mess. There's a shootout, but in the end they end up apprehending Claws. And Black Panther, or T'Challa, wants to take him back to Wakanda to get charged and to pay for his crimes for murdering people back in 1992. But Claw's crew actually ends up saving him, and come to find out the main leader of his crew is T'Challa's cousin, and there's a whole backstory about that. T'Challa's cousin, the old king actually ended up killing T'Challa's cousin is Eric Killmonger, and the old king ended up killing his father when he was just a boy over trading secrets about Wakanda. Anyway, so grown-up Eric Killmonger comes to Wakanda and challenges T'Challa and ends up throwing him off a cliff. And spoiler alert, he's not really dead, but at the time he becomes king, and he wants to basically give all of the technology to basically these, I guess, warlords across all over the world, all the oppressed people all over the world, and start huge like war, and everybody else wants to keep Wakanda a secret. So there's a huge war, and of course T'Challa ends up winning, but compromises and realizes he should share some of that great technology for the oppressed, but not like warlords. Anyway, that's a short summary. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but cool. This movie has a lot of great actors in it. I mean, T'Challa, played by, I'm going to have to read off the list, sorry, Chadwick Boseman, is an amazing T'Challa. I really liked his introduction in Civil War. He delivers, and he's amazing. Other people, actually the one that I loved the most was his sister. His sister did all like the tech, and she had this like sassy attitude. And her name was Suri, and she's played by Letita Wright. Really enjoyed her character. It was also great to see Sterling K. Brown in this as well, because he plays Eric's father. And he's, from This Is Us. Other actors, Forrest Whitaker. I mean, he's really making a comeback these last few years. And then finally we have Andy Serkis, of course, reprising his role as Claus. And then Martin Freeman does have a significant role in this movie, and he's pretty good. I just kind of forget that he's a hobbit. Anyway, reactions on this film. This is going to be a longer review. I have a lot of different things I want to get into. First of all, I like the themes of this film. Let's go into why this is so exciting. This was directed by a black director, entirely casted mainly with black actors, and it highlights their culture that they have in Africa. I know that Wakanda is a fake country. I know that, I get that. But the fact that there was like a celebration almost of their culture, and it was really, really, really cool to see, from my point of view. But the story does have a lot about, my uncle's son really wants the crown, so there was a little Lion King storyline going on. But I mean, to king and taking over the crown. Anyway, but it's fine with me. I enjoy the storyline nonetheless. But the main theme is actually the sins of our fathers, if you think about it. And what I like is the humanity that was given to Eric Killmonger, and how upset T'Challa was that the Wakandans failed Eric Killmonger and basically made him. It's a really interesting point of view, and Marvel is doing this correct. And they actually, it goes all the way to Spider-Man with that bad guy, because he was just a father trying to provide for his kids, and that was his humanity that he was given. And now we get this humanity of this little boy that was basically left behind after his father was murdered, and he basically wants to avenge his father, but at the same time he feels like everybody's just doing him wrong and his people, and you can't help but kind of understand where he's coming from. So I do like, and then T'Challa has to doubt his father, and his father who he adored and only looked up to, and found out his father wasn't perfect either, and he made this mistake. And really, I guess after all I've seen in the movie, it just comes down to the sins of our fathers. What else do I like? Compromise is another big theme. T'Challa has a lot of different points of view of, doing it the old way, sharing it for oppressed people, helping war countries win. I mean, where do you take that country? And at the same time, there's a really good line in it that his father tells him that it's really hard to be a good man and be king. And I think that goes a lot for any of our leaders. I guess it's really hard when your heart goes out to everyone and you can see all points of view, and how do you be a good leader without letting everyone just roll over you. So this is an actually really good question to ask, and I really enjoyed the internal question that was asked to me, and I was just like, that's a powerful line. What I want to get into actually is a little MCU though. So this movie takes place a week after Civil War. And I have questions now. So if you want to leave comments and answer these questions, that would be fantastic. First of all, so at the end of Civil War, what we do know is that Captain America and the Winter Soldier and Falcon are all taking refuge in Wakanda, because we see them in Wakanda, and Winter Soldier is getting put on ice again until he can not get hypnotized easily, I guess, or so. So the question is, when does that actually happen? Because the start of this movie seems like he's just arriving after Civil War happened. So when does the Cap arrive? Did it happen after all of this stuff happened? Like at the end of Black Panther? Or before Black Panther? So my question is really, where is Captain America in all of this? I understand this is a story. He shouldn't have been in it. I get that. That's not that. I'm just questioning when that happened. Oh no, it definitely does happen before this, because there's a mention of fixing up white guys. So, and that's definitely a reference to Bucky. So it happens before, which just brings up a question of, I mean, I know that Marvel has a tendency to bring other characters in, just maybe even for a cameo. So for me, it would have been nice to see maybe just a 5-second cameo of like Cap coming out being like, hey, do you need some help? And, T'Challa saying, nah, got it, we're good, don't worry about it. Or something along the lines. And I realized that Agent Ross is pursuing Captain, so maybe they didn't really want to make them in the same room. But still, I mean, the question was on my mind, isn't Captain in Wakanda? Just curious. Okay, my second big thing is they make this big deal about vibranium and not sharing it, and they think there's only a small amount in the world. And we were told in Age of Ultron where the vibranium is at. But something that I have to actually go back into the first Avenger, which is the first Captain America movie, is when Tony Stark's father gives Captain the shield that's made out of vibranium. I'm wondering if Wakanda's ever mentioned. But that there is a story there. I mean, how did he get that vibranium to make the shield? That's a question. And if you're going to bring up it being a big deal of not being able to have it at all, so when did that exchange take place? Did Tony Stark's father, was he friends with T'Challa's father or his grandfather? We don't know. It would be great to have that answer. So yeah, that's going to be the end of my review. I could actually go on and on and on about it. I really loved the film. Good action, good story, good characterization. Love the actor Stan Lee. I like your cameo. That was really funny. So this is the 6th movie I've seen all year, and I'm going to rank it. Big surprise. Ooh, I'm ranking it number 1 out of 6 movies. Definitely would rather see this than any of the movies I've seen earlier this year. So, yeah, so that's my review. I know it's been my longest review, going over a little bit, 10 minutes, but hey, when it's a good film, I would just want to talk about it. If I have questions, I have to ask those. So, other than that, I hope everyone has a great rest of your evening or whatever you're doing. I'll see you back later. I think my next movie I'll be doing is, I think, Game Night. So, I'll see you then. All right, everyone, have a nice night.